And the track crew will fill those Hydra barriers up with some water, and we're ready to go racing as round one competition continues here in the Spring Nationals from Columbus, Ohio. There is a look at Dan Patrick in the Keystone Cruncher. Dan, a man that has been behind the scenes, but certainly no stranger to this sport.
He has to be one of the best kept secrets in the sport. I would say he has been involved in the construction of about 85% of these trucks that are running. Now, this one is the exception. Fred Schaefer, lone wolf. He's built everything on this truck with Mopar parts, trying to make a good impression for his new Chrysler sponsor, Gary.
Mopar against Chevy, Keystone Cruncher, and Barefoot, round one. The third fast qualifier. Oh, look at that advantage for Barefoot.
Boy, that new chassis, it's amazing. Now, the Keystone Crusher is running the old-style trucks. Meanwhile,
look at the smoke. Look at the smoke here from Barefoot.
A lot of smoke coming out. Plus, notice the angle, the lean on the truck. It's brand new. Everything's new. And I'm sure everybody's trying to figure out what kind of smoke is it? Engine smoke, transmission smoke, why is the truck leaning? But I tell you what, to be a new kid on the block, Fred Schaefer stepped out and is going to play hardball all afternoon long. Look at that, clear of the last set of cars.
Well, of course, he takes the victory. The concern now is for the smoke spraying from under that truck. There may be a problem. Let's go trackside, Army Armstrong.
Well, Gary, we got a problem down here in the pit area. I say we don't have the problem. Fred Schaefer's got a problem with the new Dodge vehicle. They're making all kind of horsepower. That's what he wanted, but they've got some kind of an oil leak. He and the crew are going feverishly trying to figure out where the oil leak is. They just can't find out. But believe me, it is a major problem. Fred said it really spooked him a while ago when he made the run. The bottom of the feet got oily and everything. You couldn't hold the controls or anything. But right now, again, the big problem is where is the oil leak coming from on the big Dodge engine?
A lot of Mopar fans wanting to see that Dodge do well here this afternoon. But right now, a battle of the GMCs. We have Nightmare. Nightmare with Steve Hess out of Haviland, Ohio, not far from Columbus. He will go up against King Crunch, the auto value parts stores, and this is Scott Stevens, another GMC out of Texas.
You know, it's ironic that both the GMCs draw each other in the first round of competition, but you know, they're friends until now. They put the helmet on, it's like putting war paint on. Each guy wants to be the only one that comes out of this street fight. Stevens out of Texas, Nightmare out of Ohio. Let's see what's going to happen here.
Well, of course, with the bracketing, it was the 6th fastest qualifier, Nightmare, against the 12th fastest qualifier, King Crunch. And it's King Crunch by a fender. And he uses all the shutdown area and then some.
Yeah, again, notice the lean. These fellas are running these, what they call Custer shocks, okay, or experimental shocks. And the trucks are not rebounding. They'll rebound one time. Right now, the shock will come back real quick. But after the second jump, the trucks will have a tendency to lean over or tip over, if you will. The drivers are trying to get used to that.
So King Crunch takes that victory. Will advance to round two competition. We look at Eldon Depew in Taurus, a Chevrolet truck out of Granite City, Illinois, right across the river from St. Louis. And he goes up against the new No Problem.
Eldon Depew and No Problem, that's kind of like a family affair, if you will. No Problem has a new sponsor with the HPX Fastener Company. John Moore, his wife Heidi, their daughter Jill. On the other side of the ledger, Taurus, it's a family operation with Jack Wellman and his nephew Eldon Depew. So, family feud, if you will, Gary. Let's see who's going to win it.
Well, it's Ford against Chevrolet, and a good job by Taurus. And Taurus takes the victory over No Problem.
Well, John Moore and his crew will have their day. It will not be the day in Columbus, though. This kid's going to the next round in the Chevrolet.
We're ready now for round two competition as we take a look at the jubilant Colt Cobra. We're coming back. Stay with us. We are at the Ohio State Fairgrounds in Columbus for the four-wheel and off-road Jamboree Spring Nationals. Round two competition will find Bigfoot, Bigfoot 10, another Ford, against Snakebite. And also in round two competition, we'll have Barefoot against Equalizer, who advances from round one. Also, we will see King Crunch and Taurus. So a pair of Fords going side by side. Snakebite and Bigfoot 10.
Gary, there's a story here. A lot of people feel, and I'm one of them, the only reason that Colt Cobra became involved in this sport was to have a Ford that could beat Bob Chandler's Bigfoot Ford and Andy Brass. Last year, he was very vocal about that. He said, I can build a Ford that can be the best. Chandler says, I'm just going to keep doing my thing. I'll keep Andy Brass to see if we keep racing. But a lot of people think the only reason that Colt Cobra's in the game is to beat the big blue truck on his right.
Well, the stake has been very, very vocal There's some bad blood between Snakebite and the Ford contingent from Bigfoot. We're not sure why, but he wants in the worst way to beat the big blue truck.
Whoa, he's going to have to do better than that on the starting line. Andy Brass drilled him on the start.
But here comes the Snake. Andy Brass in trouble with a second set of cars. A very rare driving miscue on the part of Andy Brass. And Colt Cobra takes the victory. The Snake will advance.
Well, I guess that shows the youngsters out there. Dream your dream and make it come true, because he said he could build a truck that would beat Bigfoot. Now, Foot leaves quick. Cobra stays cool. The truck settles down in no man's land.
But right here, coming over the second set, Andy Brass in trouble. Does not get the air he normally gets. Does not really clear the cars. He drives over the cars. The Snake wins, and he's with Army.
Colt, awfully close on the other end. You said you built the truck for one purpose, to beat the big blue truck. You did it.
Yeah, you know, Army, it was a real tough race. I knew it was going to be. I let Andy go ahead and stage first. It's kind of like a little mind game there. We was both trying to set in on each other there. I knew the left lane was quicker, like I talked to you earlier about it, you know, but it looks like the Ford Snakebite come out on top. I seen him all the way. I could see him out of the corner of my eye. And we had just enough left in the, you know, that little paint gun just gave me a lot of shot down there on the end. And I just shot ahead of him.
And he's referring to the new sponsor, the Brass Eagle paint gun, as we take a look at Equalizer lining up against Barefoot.
David Morris and Gary Cook out of Tennessee come in with basically a backyard built vehicle with spare parts and what have you, but they're players. The big question is, what kind of damage was done to this guy, the new kid on the block in the first round? Still a whole lot of smoke coming out of the vehicle. That tells me they did not find the oil leak.
Well, Fred Schaefer has that brand new Dodge Barefoot. We saw him come up with an oil leak in round one. The truck is still smoking. The question continues, can he go the distance and continue competition here in Columbus? He gets the whole shot.
The answer to your question is yes.
Now for this round, yes. But how long will that last before he does some severe damage to that engine?
Boy,
that can be very costly.
Yeah, it can, but you know, we got to wait and see. You take this thing one round at a time.
Yeah, and every round can get more expensive if you're doing damage to the engine. We take a look inside the cockpit of the Auto Value King Crunch. There are the eyes of Scott Stevens out of Woodlands, Texas, with a brand new paint scheme on the King Crunch. And there is a look at Eldon Depew in Taurus.
You know, a moment ago, you talked about the paint gun sponsorship. As we see Eldon Depew come up on the screen, that Colt Cobra had. Bill Simpson saw Scott Stevens get upside down so many times, he sent him one of his helmets. He knew if he was going to get some air time, that'd be the guy to do it with. And it's working for him.
And Scott only did not qualify all that well. Got a good hole shot there, but here comes the youngster from Granite City, Illinois, Eldon Depew. In Taurus, he takes the victory.
There must be something in the genes of these guys, because Jack Willman Sr. has got a son that can drive his truck. His nephew comes in and puts him in another round.